There is a specific form of neurosis that has silently taken over the modern psyche. It is not anxiety. It is not depression, though it often feels like it. It is the gnawing, constant sensation that your real life hasn't actually started yet. You look at your peers, people from high school, university, or work, and they seem to be participants in reality. They are buying homes, starting families, building careers. They are in the game. You, however, feel like an observer. You are preparing. You are waiting. You are planning for a future that will arrive someday when you are finally ready. This is not a modern problem caused by social media or the economy. Although those factors can exacerbate it, Carl Jung identified this state early in the 20th century. He called it the provisional life. It is the psychological state of a person who refuses to enter time. And here is the terrifying truth. The reason you keep procrastinating is not because you are lazy. It is not because you lack discipline or need a better calendar app. It is because your psyche is actively defending itself against reality. You are procrastinating because the alternative, actually starting, threatens the very structure of your ego. Today, we are going to perform a comprehensive depth analysis of this paralysis. We will deconstruct the provisional life, identify the archetype that is holding you hostage. Pure eterness, explore its origins in the mother complex, and look at the practical Jungian steps to finally enter reality. To understand why you can't start, we first have to look at the conflict happening below the surface. You likely experience procrastination as a simple inability to do the thing. You sit down to work, and suddenly you need coffee. You need to check email. You need to clean your desk. You feel a physical resistance in your chest, almost like a magnetic field pushing you away from your task. Jung would say, this is not a lack of willpower. It is a civil war. Inside your psyche, there are opposing forces. On one side, you have the ego, the conscious part of you that says, I want to write a book, I want to get in shape, or I want to start a business. On the other side, hidden in the shadow, is a powerful autonomous force that says, no, we stay here. Why would a part of you want to fail? Why would your own mind sabotage your success? Because, to the unconscious mind, starting is dangerous. When you start something, you subject yourself to judgment. You subject yourself to the possibility of failure. And most importantly, you kill the fantasy of perfection. Think about the project you have been putting off. As long as you haven't written the book, it is still a perfect book in your head. It is a masterpiece that will change the world. The moment you write the first sentence, it becomes a real sentence. And real sentences can be clumsy. Real sentences can be criticized. Real sentences are limited. So, procrastination is actually a defense mechanism. It preserves your potential. It protects the fantasy of your genius from the harsh, limiting light of reality. You feel safe in the realm of what could be, so your unconscious mind fights tooth and nail to keep you there. This specific defense mechanism comes from a very specific archetype. Jung called it the pure eternus, Latin for the eternal youth. The pure eternus is a fascinating and dangerous figure in the psyche. Mythologically, he is the child god. He is Icarus flying too close to the sun. He is Peter Pan refusing to grow up. The pure is a spirit of high flights. People possessed by this archetype are often incredibly creative, idealistic, and charming. They have high spiritual aspirations. They feel they are special, that they are meant for something greater than the mundane, boring existence of ordinary people. But the pure has a fatal flaw. He cannot touch the ground. In the myth of Icarus, the boy is given wings made of wax and feathers. His father, Daedalus, who represents the structural, practical mind, warns him, "Do not fly too close to the sun, or the wax will melt. Do not fly too close to the sea, or the wings will get wet." He warns him to stay in the middle path. But the pure cannot stay in the middle. He is intoxicated by the height. He flies higher and higher, aiming for the divine, until the sun melts his wings and he crashes into the ocean. This is the cycle of the procrastinator. You have moments of intense inspiration, the high flight. You stay up all night planning the business. You buy the domain name. You feel euphoric. But the moment the work requires mundane, boring effort, the middle path, you crash. In alchemy and Jungian psychology, the pure opposes the senex. The senex is the old man. He is Saturn. He represents time, limitation, discipline, boundaries, and hard work. The pure hates the senex. He hates routines. He hates 9 to 5. He hates being told what to do. He views ordinary life as a prison. He thinks, "I am too special for this. I shouldn't have to struggle with these boring details. I am a creature of the air." However, there is a nuance here that most people miss. The pure isn't just afraid of the senex. He is trapped in an oscillation with the negative senex. When the pure crashes, he doesn't just land. He falls into a pit of cynicism. This is the negative senex taking over. You know this voice? It's the voice that says, "It's too late now. You've wasted too much time. You're 30 or 40 or 50, why even bother starting? The system is rigged anyway." The negative senex is the tyrant who crushes hope. The pure is the fantasy who denies reality. And you, the ego, are caught in the crossfire. You swing wildly between "I am going to change the world," pure, and "nothing matters. I am a failure," negative senex. What you are missing is the integrated senex, the builder, the craftsman, the wise elder who knows that great things are built slowly. But where does this pure energy originate? Jungian analysis traces this back to the mother complex. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean you had a bad relationship with your mother. In fact, for the pure, it is often the opposite. It is often a positive mother complex. If the mother or the mother figure was too protective, too nourishing, or made life too easy, the child never learns to encounter resistance. The unconscious assumption becomes, "The world will provide for me. I am special. I don't need to struggle." This creates a man or woman who is psychologically still in the womb. The womb is a place of total provision. You don't have to work for food. It is given. You don't have to regulate your temperature. It is regulated for you. In the modern world, this manifests as comfort addiction. We have built a digital womb. Think about it. When you feel the slightest discomfort, boredom, anxiety, loneliness, what do? You reach for the phone. You open a tab. You order food delivery. You retreat into a frictionless environment where your needs are met instantly without effort. This digital mother devours your ambition. Why would you go out and hunt? Why would you write the difficult chapter or have the difficult conversation when you can stay in the womb of the algorithm? When the pure tries to enter the adult world, he is shocked that the world does not treat him like the womb did. The world is indifferent. The world requires labor, and this shock causes him to retreat. He retreats back into the psychological womb, into video games, into fantasy, into his bedroom. He refuses to be born into the harshness of reality. This retreat creates the provisional life. Jungian analyst Marie-Louise von Franz, who wrote the definitive book on this subject, described the symptoms with brutal accuracy. See if you recognize yourself in these distinct patterns. First, the obsession with the future. The pure lives entirely in the conditional tense. I would do this if. I will start when. The present moment is treated as a temporary nuisance, waiting room. You are never actually here. You are always mentally inhabiting a future version of yourself who has already succeeded. You endure your current job, your current relationship, your current body, treating them as fake, temporary shells that you will soon shed. Second, the savior complex. The pure has a secret longing for a magical intervention, a mentor who will discover you, a lottery win, a viral video, a sudden inheritance. The child is waiting for the parent to come and fix the difficulty of life. You might find yourself constantly looking for the magic bullet, the one course, the one book, the one piece of advice that will make the work easy. This is the child waiting to be picked up. Third, the terror of definiteness. You hesitate to pick a career path because to pick one is to kill all the others. You want to keep your options open. But by keeping all doors open, you never walk through any of them. You might be 30 or 40 years old, still wondering what you want to be when you grow up, because to decide is to accept limitation. If you become an accountant, you cannot be an astronaut. The pure wants to be both, so he becomes neither. Fourth, the refusal of apprenticeship. The pure wants to be the master immediately. He wants to write the bestseller without writing the bad first draft. He wants to be the CEO without being the assistant. He despises the apprentice stage because it feels humiliating. It requires submission to a process, submission to a teacher, and submission to the fact that you don't know everything yet. The pure's arrogance prevents him from learning, because to learn, you must admit you are small. Fifth, Don Juanism. This pattern often bleeds into relationships. Jung noted that the pure is often a Don Juan. He searches for the perfect partner, the soulmate, the goddess who will complete him. But the moment the relationship becomes real, the moment the partner has a bad day, or has flaws, or demands commitments, the pure loses interest. He pulls away. He says, "This isn't the right one." He is in love with the fantasy of love, not the reality of a person. He breaks off relationship after relationship, always searching for the perfect mother-lover who doesn't exist, and so you float. You remain a genius in potential, but a failure in reality. You feel behind because, while you were flying in the clouds of possibility, your peers who may be less talented than you accepted the Senex. They accepted the boredom. They accepted the grind. And because they accepted reality, they built a life in it. The tragedy of the pure is that he ends up living the very thing he fears. Most a wasted life. Jung warned of the unlived life. He said, nothing has a stronger influence psychologically on their environment and especially on their children than the unlived life of the parent. But before it affects your children, it destroys you. The potential you refuse to sacrifice doesn't just sit there. It rots. It turns into a poison. This is often where the shadow comes in. The energy you should be using to build a life turns inward and attacks you. It manifests as bitterness. You start to critique everyone else who is actually doing things. You look at a popular creator or a successful colleague and you deconstruct them. Their work isn't even that good, you say. They're just lucky. They are sellouts. That critique is your defense mechanism. It allows you to feel superior without having to risk anything. It creates a false hierarchy where you are the misunderstood genius and they are the successful fools. It also manifests as neurosis and addiction. Because you aren't getting the dopamine hit of real achievement, you seek cheap substitutes. Video games, pornography, social media scrolling, substances. These are all ways to simulate the feeling of adventure or reward without leaving the safety of the womb. The pure seeks the high without the climb. Now, usually, when a pure realizes they are in this trap, they try to fix it. But they try to fix it using pure energy, which only makes it worse. They engage in heroic overcompensation. You decide, okay, starting Monday, everything changes. You make a schedule that would kill a Navy SEAL. You decide you will wake up at 4 a.m., meditate for an hour, run 10 miles, and work for 12 hours straight. This is just another fantasy. This is Icarus trying to fly even higher to escape the ocean. You might sustain this for 3 days. But because it is not grounded in reality, because it respects no limits, you inevitably crash. You burn out. You binge watch Netflix for a week. And then you feel even more shame, confirming your belief that you are broken. You cannot bully the pure into submission. You cannot kill the child. You must integrate him. So, how do we actually land the plane? The solution is integration. You must integrate the Senex. You must introduce the principle of Saturn into your psychology. We are going to use a specific Jungian technique called active imagination to initiate this integration. This is not just visualization. It is a dialogue with the unconscious. I want you to do this with me right now. Don't just listen to the words. Engage with the process. Step 1. The encounter. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. I want you to locate the feeling of procrastination in your body. Where is it? Is it a tightness in the chest? A pit in the stomach? A buzzing in the head? Focus on that sensation. Now, let that sensation take a shape. If that feeling were a person, what would they look like? Is he a petulant child sitting in the corner with his arms crossed? Is he a teenager playing video games, ignoring you, wearing headphones? Is he a chaotic cloud of nervous energy? This is your pure. This is the part of you that refuses to grow up. In your mind's eye, approach him. Do not yell at him. Do not try to force him to work. That has never worked before. Instead, sit down next to him. Ask him, what are you afraid of? Don't analyze the answer, listen for it. Let the image speak. You might say, I'm afraid it won't be good enough. I'm afraid of being bored. I'm afraid of being trapped. I'm afraid if I try and fail, I'll have nothing left. Validate that fear. Say to him, I understand. It is scary. I see why you want to hide. I see why you want to stay in potential. Step 2. The summoning of the Senex. Now, staying in this imaginative space, I want you to invite a second figure into the room. The Senex, the wise old man. Imagine a figure that represents endurance, time, and earth. Maybe it's a figure like Saturn. Maybe it's a stern but kind grandfather. Maybe it's an ancient craftsman working with stone, his hands rough with labor. He is not angry. He is solid. He is unshakable. Ask the Senex, what is the one small, real thing I can do right now? Listen closely. The Senex will not tell you to build $1 million empire. That is pure fantasy. The Senex deals in concrete reality. He will say something embarrassingly small. Wash the dishes, open the document, and write one sentence. Put on your running shoes. Clean your desk. The pure inside you will scream. That's not enough. That won't save us. We need a grand gesture. We need to change everything. But you must listen to the Senex. The cure for the pure's flight is the Senex's earth. Step 3. The negotiation. You must build a relationship between these two. The pure provides the creativity, the spark, the vision. The Senex provides the container, the schedule, the work ethic to make it real. Tell the pure, we are going to do the Senex's task for just 20 minutes. Just 20 minutes of boring, real work. After that, you can play. After that, you are free. This is how you integrate. You don't kill the child. You give him boundaries. You parent yourself. This brings us to the final, necessary step. The concept of sacrifice. To leave the provisional life, you must make a conscious sacrifice. You must sacrifice the fantasy of the perfect future. You must accept that you are an ordinary human being with limited time and energy. You must mourn the loss of your infinite potential. This sounds depressing to the ego, but it is actually the most liberating thing you can do for the soul. When you stop trying to be a god, you are finally free to be a human. When you stop trying to write the perfect book, you are free to write a good book. When you stop trying to save the world, you are free to help your neighbor. When you stop waiting for the perfect time, you are free to use the present time. You must learn to love labor. The pure loves work in the creative sense, the spark, the idea, but he hates labor, the repetitive, boring execution. But labor is what builds the world. This is the paradox of the pure eater. As long as you try to stay high, you fall low. But the moment you agree to come down to earth, to accept the boredom, the limits, the slow progress, you finally start to climb. You are not behind. You are just detached. The pain you feel is the distance between your ego and the earth. Close the gap. Do the small thing. Accept the suffering of the work, because the only life worth living is a real one. If you are ready to break the pattern, subscribe. We dig deeper every week.